Right now, nearly 3 million seniors across the United States have been forced off their Medicare Advantage plans. Not because they did anything wrong, not because they missed a payment, but because their insurance company either pulled out of their area entirely or shut down their plan completely. 3 million people. That's not a statistic. That's your neighbor, your sister, your parents, people who thought they had coverage and woke up to find out they didn't anymore. And if you or someone you love is on a Medicare Advantage plan right now, you need to understand what is happening, why it's happening, and most importantly, what you need to do about it, because this crisis is not over. Today, I am going to give you the full picture, the real numbers, the real reasons, the real consequences. And then I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do if you've been affected, or if you're worried you might be next. This is one of the most important videos I've made on this channel, and I'm asking you right now to watch it all the way through, because the information at the end could protect your health coverage and your wallet in ways you haven't thought of yet. Let's start with what actually happened, because the scale of this collapse is staggering when you see the full numbers. For years, from 2018 through 2024, the rate of seniors being involuntarily removed from Medicare Advantage plans was about 1% per year, relatively small and mostly manageable. Then something changed. In 2025, that forced disenrollment rate suddenly jumped to 6.9%, nearly 7 times the historical average. And then, in 2026, it leaped again to 10%, 1 in 10 Medicare Advantage enrollees affected in a single year. To put that in human terms, 10% of roughly 30 million Medicare Advantage enrollees means approximately 3 million seniors lost their plans for the 2026 coverage year. That is not a blip, that is not a correction. That is a systemic collapse happening in real time, and the people being hit hardest are the ones who can least afford it. Rural seniors are being disproportionately affected because when a major insurer exits a rural county, there are often very few alternative Medicare Advantage plans available, and sometimes none at all. Seniors who were enrolled with smaller regional carriers are also facing the highest disruption, because smaller insurers are more vulnerable to the financial pressures that are driving this wave of exits. So now the question everyone is asking is, why is this happening? And why is it happening so suddenly and so severely? There are 3 main reasons, and understanding them matters because they tell you whether this is going to get better or worse. Reason number 1. Medicare Advantage plans have been losing money, and the financial pressure became unsustainable. Medicare Advantage works by the government paying private insurance companies a set amount per enrollee per month, and the insurer is supposed to provide coverage using that payment. For years, insurers were very profitable because they could manage costs, attract healthier members, and use various coding practices to maximize the government payments they received. But in recent years, medical costs surged. An aging population is using more health care, new expensive treatments became available, and post-pandemic care utilization jumped significantly. At the same time, the federal government tightened reimbursement rates and cracked down on some of the billing practices that insurers had been using to boost payments. The result, many Medicare Advantage plans went from being profitable to losing money. And when an insurance company loses money on a plan year after year, they eventually do the math and exit the market. Reason number 2. Hospitals and health systems are dropping Medicare Advantage plans at an alarming rate. This is the side of the story that most people haven't heard yet, and it makes the situation dramatically worse. Hospitals across the country have been cutting ties with Medicare Advantage insurers, and their reasons are consistent and damning. Prior authorization denials. When hospitals submit requests to provide care to patients, Medicare Advantage plans are denying those requests at rates that providers say are medically unjustifiable. Slow reimbursement. Even when care is approved, Medicare Advantage plans are paying hospitals slowly, sometimes taking months to process claims, which creates serious cash flow problems for health systems. The combination of high denial rates and slow payment has pushed many hospital systems to a breaking point, and they've started telling insurers that if these practices don't change, they're walking away from the contracts. And they are walking away, which means that even seniors who still have a Medicare Advantage plan may find that their preferred hospital or doctor is no longer in their network. This is critical. Losing your plan is devastating, but staying on a plan that your doctors and hospital have abandoned is also a serious problem that can sneak up on you. Reason number 3. The rural coverage gap is widening, and the market is not filling it. In urban and suburban areas, when one insurer exits, there are usually other plans available to fill the gap. The market is competitive enough that seniors have options. But in rural counties, the economics of running an insurance plan are harder. Smaller populations mean smaller risk pools and higher per-person administrative costs. When the big national insurers do the math on rural counties, many of them are deciding the numbers don't work and pulling out, leaving seniors with either no Medicare Advantage options at all or only one plan with very limited coverage. And unlike urban seniors who can switch plans, rural seniors who lose their Medicare Advantage plan may be forced into original Medicare with no supplement, which can mean much higher out-of-pocket costs. Now let me explain what actually happens to a senior when their Medicare Advantage plan exits, because the process is confusing and the deadlines are unforgiving. When your Medicare Advantage plan exits your area or shuts down, you receive a notice, usually by mail, informing you that your coverage will end on December 31st. That notice triggers what's called a special enrollment period, a window of time during which you can choose a new plan without waiting for the regular open enrollment period. During this special enrollment period, you can switch to another Medicare Advantage plan if one is available in your area, or you can return to original Medicare Part A and Part B, which is the traditional government-run program. If you do nothing, if you ignore the notice, if it gets lost in the mail, if you simply don't realize you need to act, you are automatically enrolled back into original Medicare without any supplemental coverage. And original Medicare without a supplement can be extremely expensive. There is no cap on out-of-pocket costs. Hospital stays can cost thousands per day after the first 60 days, and 20% of all outpatient costs comes directly out of your pocket. For a senior who had a Medicare Advantage plan with a low premium and an out-of-pocket maximum, suddenly being on original Medicare with no supplement is a massive and potentially devastating financial exposure. So the first and most urgent message of this video is, if you received a notice that your Medicare Advantage plan is ending, do not ignore it. Do not set it aside. Act on it immediately. Now, here's another critical piece of information that most people don't know. When your Medicare Advantage plan exits, you have guaranteed issue rights for a Medigap supplemental policy. Normally, if you want to buy a Medigap policy, also called Medicare Supplement Insurance, insurers can use medical underwriting, which means they can charge you more or even deny you coverage based on your health history. But when you lose a Medicare Advantage plan through no fault of your own, because the insurer exited, you have a guaranteed right to buy certain Medigap policies without medical underwriting. That means regardless of your age, your health conditions, or your medical history, an insurer cannot deny you or charge you extra for a Medigap policy during this guaranteed issue window. This is an enormous protection, but it only lasts for a limited time, typically 63 days from when your Medicare Advantage coverage ends. Miss that window and you lose the guaranteed issue protection, and you're back to medical underwriting, where your health history can be used against you. If your plan was canceled and you went back to original Medicare without taking advantage of this window, contact your state health insurance assistance program immediately. They can help you understand your remaining options. Now let me walk you through the specific steps you should take right now, whether you've already been affected or whether you're trying to protect yourself before this happens to you. Step 1. Find out if your current Medicare Advantage plan is stable for 2026 and beyond. Go to Medicare.gov and use the Plan Finder tool. Enter your zip code and look at the Medicare Advantage plans available in your area. Pay attention to the star ratings of your current plan. CMS rates Medicare Advantage plans on a 5-star scale, and plans with consistently low ratings are more likely to face financial pressure and potential exit. Also pay attention to the size and financial backing of your insurer. Large national carriers like United Health, Humana, Aetna, and Blue Cross have more resources to sustain plans through difficult periods than smaller regional insurers. If your plan has low star ratings and is offered by a smaller carrier in a rural area, you are in the highest risk category, and you should be actively preparing alternatives right now. Step 2. Verify that your doctors and hospitals are still in your plan's network. Even if your Medicare Advantage plan hasn't exited, hospital and provider network changes are happening constantly in 2026. Your doctor or hospital may have quietly dropped your plan. Call your doctor's office directly. Don't just check the insurer's website, because provider directories are often outdated by months. Ask specifically, do you still accept my Medicare Advantage plan for 2026? and get a clear yes or no answer. If the answer is no, you have a network-related disruption that may qualify you for a special enrollment period, and you should call Medicare at 1-800-MEDICARE immediately to understand your options. Step 3. Understand the difference between Medicare Advantage and Original Medicare with a Medigap supplement. Because for many seniors, this crisis is the wake-up call to reconsider which path is right for them. Medicare Advantage plans offer lower premiums and often include extra benefits like dental, vision, and hearing. But they come with networks, prior authorization requirements, and the risk of plan exits. Original Medicare with a Medigap supplement costs more in monthly premiums, but gives you the freedom to see any doctor in the country who accepts Medicare. No networks, no prior authorizations for most services, and predictable out-of-pocket costs. For seniors who travel frequently, who have complex medical needs, or who live in areas where Medicare Advantage plans are unstable, Original Medicare with a Medigap supplement may actually be the more financially secure choice, even if the monthly premium is higher. The extra premium you pay for a Medigap policy may be worth every penny when you consider the alternative, being unprotected on Original Medicare with unlimited out-of-pocket exposure. Step 4. If you are affected or at risk, contact your state health insurance assistance program known as SHIP. SHIP provides free, unbiased counseling from trained volunteers who can help you understand your options, compare plans, and navigate the enrollment process, completely free of charge. This is not a sales service. SHIP counselors have no financial incentive to push you toward any particular plan, which makes their advice genuinely valuable in a market full of commissioned insurance agents. You can find your state's SHIP program by visiting shiphelp.org or by calling 1-800-MEDICARE and asking to be connected. Step 5. Know your enrollment windows and do not miss them. If your plan was canceled, your special enrollment period is typically 63 days from the date your coverage ended. This is your window to get into a new plan or a Medigap policy with guaranteed issue rights. The annual Medicare open enrollment period runs from October 15th to December 7th each year. During this window, everyone can switch plans regardless of what happened during the year. And the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period runs from January 1st to March 31st. During this window, people already in Medicare Advantage can switch to a different Advantage plan or return to Original Medicare. Know these dates. Write them down. Set a reminder on your phone, because missing an enrollment window can lock you into an inadequate plan for an entire year. Now I want to address something that I think is very important. The broader question of whether Medicare Advantage as a program is worth trusting going forward. Medicare Advantage has grown enormously over the past decade. It went from covering about 30% of Medicare beneficiaries 10 years ago to covering more than 50% today. That growth was driven by attractive extras, low or $0 premiums, dental and vision coverage, gym memberships and wellness benefits that Original Medicare doesn't provide. But those extras came at a cost that is now becoming visible. Prior authorization denials that delay or prevent care, narrow networks that limit your choices, and now the financial instability that is forcing millions of seniors off their plans. The extras are appealing, but they are only valuable if the plan is still there when you need it, and if your doctors and hospitals are still in the network when you're sick. For seniors who are young and healthy, Medicare Advantage can still make financial sense. The low premiums save money, and the extras are genuinely useful. But for seniors who are older, who have chronic conditions, who depend on specific specialists, or who live in rural areas, the instability of Medicare Advantage is a serious risk that may outweigh the benefit of lower premiums. I'm not telling you Medicare Advantage is always wrong. I'm telling you that you need to make this decision with clear eyes, understanding both the benefits and the very real risks that 2026 has made impossible to ignore. Now let me address what's happening in Washington, because there are calls for reform and you should know what's being discussed. There are proposals to increase oversight of Medicare Advantage prior authorization practices, to require insurers to approve care that meets clinical standards without the bureaucratic delays that are driving hospitals out of the market. There are proposals to increase transparency in Medicare Advantage plan financial reporting so that seniors and regulators can see earlier warning signs before a plan collapses. And there are proposals to strengthen the guaranteed issue protections when plans exit to give seniors more time and more options when they're forced off their coverage. Whether any of these reforms pass is uncertain, but the political pressure to act is real because 3 million displaced seniors create 3 million very motivated voters. What I can tell you is that regardless of what Congress does, you need to protect yourself now, because waiting on Washington to fix your coverage is not a strategy. Let me give you the bottom line on this entire situation in plain language. Medicare Advantage is in crisis, not a minor disruption, not an industry correction, a genuine crisis that has already affected 3 million people and shows no signs of fully stabilizing. The combination of insurer exits, hospital network dropouts, and rural coverage gaps means that millions more seniors are at risk in 2027 and beyond. This is not over. If you are on Medicare Advantage right now, you need to actively verify that your plan is stable, your doctors are still in network, and your hospital still accepts your coverage. Do not assume everything is fine. If your plan was canceled, act immediately. Use your special enrollment period, exercise your guaranteed issue rights for Medigap, and contact SHIP for free guidance. And if you are approaching Medicare eligibility for the first time, understand both paths clearly before you choose. The short-term savings of Medicare Advantage need to be weighed against the long-term security of original Medicare with a supplement. Let me quickly recap the key points. Forced disenrollment for Medicare Advantage jumped from 1% historically to 10% in 2026. Nearly 3 million seniors lost their plans. The causes are financial losses for insurers, hospital networks dropping plans over prior authorization and payment disputes, and widening rural coverage gaps. If your plan was canceled, you have guaranteed issue rights for Medigap for 63 days. Do not miss this window. Verify your plan stability, check your provider network, contact SHIP for free help, and know your enrollment windows. If this video helped you understand what's happening and what to do about it, hit subscribe, share it with every senior you know who is on Medicare Advantage, and drop a comment below. Tell me if your plan was affected this year, because I read every single one, and I want to know how many of you are dealing with this right now.